Hey everybody, it's Nicole again. This month's video is all about meeting new people, making new friends, uplifting your community, all through volunteer work. So the inspiration for this month's video is when a lot of traumatic and crazy things are happening, or you're getting bombarded with a lot of negative news. I think a lot of times that contributes to us feeling helpless and hopeless and not knowing what to do, especially those of us who maybe want to donate to a cause or send money and supplies to people who need it. A way you can make up for the fact that you can't give as much money as you would want to is by becoming a fixture in your community. By showing up and doing the work and making a lasting, sustainable impact on your community is more beneficial to your community than money would have been anyway. So I think volunteering is a great way to feed that part of our humanity that really wants to connect with people. I'm kind of basing this video off of that quote that we all love from Mr. Rogers, where he was saying, as a young boy, his mother would tell him when he saw something scary on the news to look for the helpers. So this is This is look for the helpers, look for the people in your community who are already doing the work, who are laying the foundation of hey, this is where we need you. Look for that and then try to become that yourself. So the first thing we have to address is, what kind of volunteer work should I do? We've all done volunteer projects in high school or for our community or whatever that have felt tedious, nauseating. You're literally just showing up to show up, and it's not. And maybe you feel good at the end just because you've done good, but it's not filling your cup while you're doing it. While some things are just kind of that way. I don't think anyone is gonna love picking up trash on the highway, but it has to be done. Some things are just that way. But a good volunteer experience is something that you feel good while you're doing, and that's going to make you want to come back and do more, and that's going to make it more realistic for you to do it on the long term. I'm going to lay out 3 trains of thought. The first one is about what do you do for work. Examples of this could be lawyers doing pro bono work, musicians playing a fundraiser, videographers making a free ad for a company, bakers donating to a bake sale, which kind of leads us to the question of, when should I do work for free? So a lot of people, I think especially in the artist community, are really burnt out on being asked to do things for free just because, as an artist or as a creative person, a lot of time that work is really undervalued. But I kind of try to start with that rule of 3 a lot of people use when taking creative work, which is is it good pay, good people, or good music or art or whatever you're making? You need at least 2 out of 3 of those. So obviously if it's volunteer work, good pay is off the table. So then bare minimum, it has to be good people, good art, good music, whatever that second thing is. And then I would substantiate the third one and just say, let it be a good cause. If it's something that's important to you, of course it's okay. I think we also kind of worry about am I taking work from someone who would get paid for it? So that's definitely something to examine. Can an organization afford to pay someone to do the job you're doing? And if so, then by doing it for free, are you taking away from what would have been a position? Or when you're looking at this organization, is it money's really tight? If someone can do this for free, then that allocates more funds towards their mission. I think that's a really honorable thing to do. A second way you can get involved throughout your line of work is to just connect with the people who are in your line of work. So whether that's, mentoring people who are a year or 2 behind you, speaking on a conference, or, reaching out to your high school or college alumni and saying, hey, I'm here as a resource that people want to learn how to do and do what I do and get where I have been. You also might want to take a look into your peers at work and your peers in your field. They may already have an organization built where they're doing volunteer activities together. I always like those because it's a good way to kind of network with people you work with but not have to talk about work. So how is the network you're already a part of building up the community around it? And if it's not doing that, maybe look into why is that? Why don't you have a connection to the community as a group of professionals? Volunteering can also be a really great break from the stuff you do every day. So the second portion is called something I'm curious about. So this is something you're curious about, something you want to learn more about, something you want to get better at. You can use this as a good way to develop skills that you're not developing in your line of work, or just things that could be beneficial to you in work later, but you're not developing them right now. So a great example of that would be If you want to get better at social media and marketing, maybe take over the account for a nonprofit. Offer yourself like, hey, like, let me run your Instagram for a month. Let me run your Twitter for a month. And that's a great way to get hands-on experience, so that if you're the next time you want to apply for a job, you can say, yeah, I ran this social media account. I've done that before. So it's a really great way to add to your resume while doing work that's really needed somewhere else. You can also use volunteering to learn just a random new skill. For example, maybe you're interested in having a compost bin in your house, but you don't know how to set that up. What if you go volunteer at a compost hub or at a farm, somewhere where they do that, learn how to do it, then take those skills and implement them into your own life. I think curiosity and volunteering are a great combination when it comes to expanding your worldview. Maybe you're not living a very diverse experience in terms of like the people you're interacting with on the everyday. Volunteering can be a great organic way to get in touch with people that are outside of your normal people set. So you're only hanging out with young people, try volunteering at a senior center. You're only hanging out with old people, why don't you start reading to children at a public library? Maybe you don't have any LGBTQIA people in your life. You could reach out to the LGBTQ Center in your hometown, or you could volunteer nationally for something like the Trevor Project. Maybe you just simply don't have enough historians in your life. Go volunteer at a museum. Maybe you don't have enough scientists in your life. Go volunteer at a zoo or an arboretum. Create a space where you're working together with these people, learning from these people, and just keep in mind, like, you're a visitor in their space, you're there to contribute, and you're there to learn. The third way to volunteer is just find something you're passionate about. I'm sure whatever that is, somebody needs your help with it. And that could be like, maybe it's freaking video games, and like you want to go play video games with kids at a youth center. They need somebody to who wants to just sit and chill and do that. I think you'd be surprised. Just like look inside yourself. What are the things that you love, that you want to do more of? There's a volunteer opportunity to connect that skill. If you're still not really sure about where to start, I would suggest doing one-off events. Maybe do one shift at your local food bank, work a one-time event like a Relay for Life or an AIDS walk, something like that, where it's organized, people, you're gonna get assigned a role, and then it'll give you a glance into that institution. You can also attend public events hosted by your city, so either like your city hall, your library. A lot of times those types of places put on things. I personally found the place I love to volunteer is called Food Forward. I found them through a Arbor Day celebration that the city of Van Nuys put on randomly, and it just happened to be, I was kind of curious about planting trees in Van Nuys. I got connected with a group that's all about harvesting fruit from people's backyards and then donating that to food banks. So it's kind of like checks all the boxes for me, especially because in my career I never get to be outside, so it's like a really great way for me to be outside, stopping food waste, and then donating to people who are food insecure in our community. If none of those are working for you, there's a few great options online. Idealist.org, LA Works is a good one if you're in the Los Angeles area. Volunteer Match is another good one. Those sites work more like a job website would, so you'll see positions you can apply for, or you can type in, skill sets that you want to match up with. At the end of the day, volunteering can be really easy, it can be really fulfilling, it can be really fun, and it's something I think everyone should do. One other great thing about volunteering is that, right now we're in the midst of kind of a crazy atmosphere. We're in a global pandemic. We're facing a lot of, racial inequities that we've struggled with for a long time as a nation. We're dealing with these things that cannot be fixed immediately. And so I think, we all feel like this kind of urgent need to be helping out with things. But the reality is that a lot of these needs are always here. And so if you can find a way to let me give 2 hours a month to this thing. Let me show up for this every month for just a few hours. I think that also kind of will help people unload this weight of everything's happening right now. I need to give money. I need to do everything I can right in this instant and not take a break, to hey, let's not burn ourselves out. Let's find a long, sustainable way that's healthy for me, that involves skills that I'm actually good at, to contribute. So go out there, go find the hole in your community that you're supposed to fill, find your niche, find your group, find your people. They're out there, they're doing good, and you can do good with them. Have fun, and good luck building a better world.